Mockingbird and Liarbird by Rei Wakayami on AO3. Chapter 14. The rest of Izuku's internships flies by. He doesn't learn what punishments Ida or Todoroki get from their instructors, but Subsume has him drilling on paperwork pretty much the rest of the week, except for a few excursions to help with cleaning up the damage from the attack and teaching him rescue politics and practices as she and her sidekicks clear rubble from the roads. Izuku bids her farewell on the morning he's expected to leave, apologizing again for causing her trouble. It wouldn't be an internship without some chaos, though I will admit this was a bit more than I was expecting. You were a model intern. Expect, of course, with that happened. Maybe we'll work together again, and if you ever want to intern here again, I wouldn't say no, though try to keep the chaos to a minimum, please. She scolded him gently. Yes, ma'am, Izuku says with a bow. Good luck, Mockingbird. I know you're going to need it. She jokes and waves. Izuku bows one last time, and waves back before he rushes off to meet up with Ida outside of Manuel's agency, before the two of them walk to the train station. They don't take the same route as they took there, instead heading home, so Izuku bids the taller teen farewell before finding his train and taking it home. He texts Hitoshi the whole way back, and then goes off at his stop, before walking the last 10 minutes home. His mom is home and greets him warmly, fussing over him, but other than the small bandages on his cheek and the bandage peeking over the collar of his shirt, and hidden under it, he's fine. She listens raptly as he tells her about everything else that happened before and after the Hosu incident, as people have started to call it. She seems delighted at his training and learning about the reality of heroics, nodding when he exclaims about how much paperwork is involved. Oh, sweetie, I could have told you that. I've worked with quite a few cases involving heroes, and the amount of paperwork they file is ridiculous. She jokes. The rest of the week flies by, and soon, Monday rolls around. Yamada and Aizawa arrive on time as usual, though his mom is out there with him to greet them and thank them for taking care of Izuku and helping with everything that happened in Hosu. They talk a few more seconds as Izuku crawls into the back with Hitoshi, who looks like he's in another cycle of his insomnia, as the shadows under his eyes are very dark, and he looks ready to collapse from tiredness. Inko bids them farewell, and the car pulls away. You okay? Izuku asks Hitoshi, as he leans into him, head resting on Izuku's shoulder. Yeah, Hitoshi murmurs quietly. Just had some trouble sleeping the last few nights. Bad dreams, he admits softly, reaching out to squeeze Izuku's wrist. And Izuku realizes what he's talking about. Oh, I'm sorry, Izuku whispers sadly. He's probably really scared Hitoshi with that SOS, and him learning about what happened. Just don't do that again. At least not without me. Hitoshi scolds, eyes still closed, but a frown marging his brow. I promise, Izuku whispers. Hitoshi nods against his shoulder, and soon clocks out. They arrive at campus, and Izuku is forced to wake up Hitoshi up, the purple-haired teen grumbling, but following Izuku as he pulls him from the car. I'll be speaking with the three of you after homeroom, problem child. Aizawa reminds him, and Izuku nods before leading Hitoshi away from the parking lot and towards their classroom. It's earlier than they normally go to the room, but Hitoshi is tired, so Izuku gets the teen settled at his desk, offering his uniform jacket as a cover to block out the light as they wait for the class to start. Ida arrives not long after they do, as does Yarirozu, who sends the two of them a knowing look, like she's aware of what happened in Hosu, but doesn't comment as she greets them as she usually does. As the rest of the class starts to filter in, talking excitedly about their own internships and what happened in Hosu, Izuku turns back to his notebook, writing on a new hero who just debuted and what their quirk is, ignoring the rest of the class. Hey, Midoriya-kun, Ida-kun, I heard you two were in Hosu when things with Stain and the attack went down. What was it like? Kaminari asked excitedly. Izuku looks up to see many of the other students looking at him and Ida. Katsuki, sending a darker glow his way. Izuku had looked up the stuff about the Hosu incident after the fact and had seen the grainy cell phone videos of him being grabbed and Stain saving him. Terrifying? Izuku admits. Too bad you didn't catch him. I heard your dad got the credit, Sero says excitedly, looking at Todoroki. He did. Todoroki agrees, blatantly, his heterochronic eyes glancing between Izuku and Ida before going back to his notes. Izuku glances at the time and sees it's almost time for class to start. Toshi, come on, wake up. Izuku whispers, and Hitoshi groans, but rises, heading Izuku back his jacket just as the bell rings, and Izuku quickly turns around, straightening his jacket as Aizawa walks in, calling the class in order. Izuku, Ida, and Todoroki follow silently behind Aizawa as he heads for the conference room down the hall from 1A. He gestures them into the room after opening the door, and they find Nezu, Hound Dog, and Recovery Girl in the room. Ah, there you three are. Please, take a seat. Nezu orders, and they do. I'm sure you know why we're having this meeting, the rodent says pleasantly, sipping a cup of tea. Punishment for our involvement with Stain. Ida speaks up. I would ask that you please go easy on Midoriya-kun and Todoroki-kun. They were only trying to help me, and it is my fault that they are involved at all, Ida asks, bowing from his seat on the couch. Your punishments will reflect your involvement and your actions leading up to the incident. What you did and what happened afterwards. Nezu states simply, and Ida nods, shoulders slumping. First of all, how are you three feeling? Recovery Girl asks softly. I've already retrieved your medical files from the hospital, and I know that what injuries you have sustained. It's still tender, but nothing too bad. They sent me home with some mild pain relievers if it starts to hurt, Izuku admits. Same, Todoroki adds. I still have to go back for further testing for mine, Ida admits. They're hopeful that they can restore the nerve damage, Ida adds. Good, and I've asked them to keep me updated should my skills be needed, she informs him. Very well, Nezu speaks up cheerfully. On to your punishments. The first being that each of you will be required to have a minimum of 3 sessions with Hound Dog here. You face something traumatic in Hosu, and such incidents leave wounds that don't show on the skin. We just want to make sure you are compatibilizing this experience and to ensure nothing negative comes from it. Understood? Nezu asks, and they all nod. Second, each of you will be writing a 10-page paper on vigilantism and the pros and cons of such acts, as well as various laws surrounding it, and the ramifications it could have on a case. To be turned in by next Monday, he explains. If you need help locating sources material, I'm sure Aizawa-kun can help you there. Aizawa nods. Ida-kun, Nezu speaks up, and Ida straightens. Because your actions were the catalyst that started this incident with the hero killer, you will face the worst consequences. As of right now, you're on academic probation. While you don't have a mark on your record, should you step out of the line again, we'll be forced to pull you from the Heroes program until such a time that you can prove you are responsible enough to return. Is that understood? Nezu asked. Yes, Nezu-sensei. Thank you for the chance to improve myself. Ida agrees with a bow. Midoriya-kun, Todoroki-kun, you two will be serving detention after class for the rest of the week, and will be given a stack of reading of cases similar to what you two did. You will learn from them the many ways things could have gone horribly wrong last week, and how lucky you are to be alive right now. Nezu states simply. Yes, Nezu-san. Izuku agrees without complaint, Todoroki bowing and agreeing as well. I hope you will learn from this lesson, boys, and grow, Nezu says with a sad smile. I'm glad all 3 of you are okay, and please No, we don't punish you without reason, he exclaims. Yes, sensei, they chorus. Well, go on back to class. Don't forget to schedule your sessions with Hound Dog, and if you need to see Recovery Girl, her office is always open. He reminds them, and they bow before leaving the room. I'm sorry, Ida whispers. It's fine, Todoroki murmurs. That's what friends do, Ida-kun. Izuku explains, with a small smile, and Ida nods back, with a smile as well. They ignore the stares when they return, apologizing for interrupting Yamada Sensei's lesson, and retake their seats. Izuku is nearly vibrating as he changes into his outfit. This is the first real training exercise since they transferred into 1A. Last week, they've been on their internships, and the week before, after transferring, it had been lessons about internships and agencies and what to do in certain situations. Hitoshi is huffling in laughter at Izuku's buzzing bounces as he pulls out his gear. He still hasn't gotten a replacement for his voice enhancer back from the support company, but that's fine. He doubts he'll need it for this lesson. He'd also decided to leave his wrist attachment as well. Hopefully he won't need it. What do you think we're going to be doing, Toshi? Izuku asks excitedly, turning to look at his friend as he finishes trying to boost his standing. No clue, Hitoshi murmurs. Hey, Kaminari, any clue what we're doing today? Hitoshi asks the blonde. Not a bit, Kaminari admits with a grin. Also, your outfits rock, guys. He gives a thumbs up, and Izuku flushes and grins at the praise. They follow the blonde out of the changing rooms and head for Ground's grandma. Whoa, Izuku murmurs as they get their first look at the place. Seriously, how much money does Yue have to do this? Izuku hisses to Hitoshi. Your guess is as good as mine. I'm just hoping they don't throw robots at us again. I'm really tired of robots. Hitoshi murmurs, and Izuku nods as well. Welcome back, everyone, from your internships. I'm sure they were very instructional and informative. Hopefully, we have all learned something while you were there. Today, we're doing something a little different. All Might calls out loudly, voice booming. I still can't believe we're learning from All Might, Izuku whispers excitedly to Hitoshi. Rein in the fanboy, Hitoshi murmurs back, and Izuku elbows him in the side. Today, to get an idea of how you've improved, we're going to hold a little race. A rescue race, to be exact. You'll be broken up into teams of 5. A signal will blare somewhere in the city behind you, and you will have to race to the source through the city. Anything can be used except trying to trip or slow down your opponents. The goal is to get the person needed rescue, me, the fastest. Not to stop your classmates. Got it? He asks, and the class nods. Alright, first team up. Midoriya, Ida, Ashido, Sero, and Ojiro. Get to the starting point. The rest of you can observe the race from over here. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll get into position. Wait for the signal. He reminds them. Oh, Toshi, it's just like training, Izuku whispers with a grin. Are you going to use your capture scarf? He asks as they head towards the starting area and the viewing area. I'm not good enough with it yet, he admits with a huff. Better not fall. I'll laugh at you. Yeah, root for me. Izuku calls back, and Hitoshi waves as he heads for the starting line. He seizes up the rest of this competition. He knows he can't win, not against Ida's speed and Seru's tape, but he's sure he could put on a good display. He'd never been a speedster, but he's small, quick, and flexible. Good for this kind of course. A horn blares in the distance, and Izuku surges forward. Already figured out the direction he needs to go and rushes towards the side of the building, where a series of pipes and electrical boxes stick out, making an excellent series of platforms to get higher. Bouncing up, he pulls himself over the edge of the roof with a roll and charges forward. He can see Sero is already ahead, swinging from tape, and Ida is weaving through the city trying to find the best route to reach his destination. He can hear Ashido and Ojiro behind him and pushes ahead. Taking to the rooftops, Izuku jumps, bounces, and swings across the gaps between, aiming for an area he needs to go to. He doesn't make first or second like Zero and Ida, but a solid third is nice, with Ashido and Ojiro coming in fourth and fifth. Yes! Izuku cheers breathlessly, jumping up and down as soon as he crosses the finish line. Good work, young Midoriya. All Might says, and Izuku beams. You're pretty quick for a non-physical quirk. Zero admits, with a clap to Izuku's shoulder. Thanks, Izuku says back. I studied parkour and it came real in handy, though I'm not sure on a different course I might not do so well. This one had so many nice hands and footholds, he admits. Right, Zero agrees as they trudge back to the waiting area, and All Might announces the next team. Bakugo, Tokoyami, Sato, Kaminari, and Aomama. Bakugo, of course, comes in first, followed by Tokoyami, Sato, Aomami, and Kaminari in last. The next group is Ashui, Kirishima, Shoji, Hitoshi, and Uraraka. Asudo comes in first, with Hitoshi coming in second, Uraraka in third, Soji in fourth, and Kirishima bringing up the rear. Toshi, that was awesome! Izuku yells as Hitoshi comes back, still a little winded, but grinning. Better than you, he adds with a grin. You only had to beat Ashido in regards of the speed, Izuku reminds him, and Hitoshi sticks out his tongue. The last team is Toya, Jiro, Todoroki, Hagakure, and Yaoyorozu. Yaoyorozu comes in first, making skates and a jetpack to propel herself forward. Todoroki comes in second, skating across its ice, while Jiro, Hagakure, and Koda all come in third, fourth, and fifth. Very good, all of you. I can see some of you have improved greatly. Others still need to work. While speed isn't always the deciding factor, being fast can save a life. Don't be too hard on yourself, though. This is only the first semester of your first year. Work hard, and you can learn to be faster. All right, you're all dismissed. Go change. Good work, everyone. All Might calls out, and then rushes off in a hurry. Wonder what's got him in a rush, Hitoshi murmurs, as he follows Izuku to their locker room. Izuku shrugs before turning back to their conversation from before class started. Hitoshi hums and adding a comment here and there as Izuku goes on about that new hero he's been watching. How did you do on your midterms? Hitoshi asks, looking like someone drugged him through the ringer as they leave 1A. Okay, Izuku admits, though I think I might have gone off topic on some of the essay questions. Hitoshi snorts. You let that brain of yours get away from you again, didn't you? Hitoshi asks, ruffling Izuku's curls. Toshi, don't be mean. It could really impact my grade. Izuku whines and then stumbles as Katsuki goes storming past them, shoulder-checking Izuku angrily as he heads for lunch. Hey, watch where you're going, dickface! Hitoshi growls at Katsuki. The angry blonde whirls around to glare at them. What was that, creep? He growls, hands popping, threatening. Really? You're gonna attack us in the middle of the hall, surrounded by witnesses, cameras, and a teacher? Hitoshi adds, nodding to where he could see Shota coming down the hall. Katsuki huffs angrily, but stops his quirk. Whatever, extras. You got in because you cheated. You'll wash out eventually. Katsuki hisses before stomping away. Dude, Bakubro, that was uncool. Kirishima calls after him. Sorry about him, he's stressed after the midterms. He murmurs, and then follows his friend towards the cafeteria. I see the Pomeranian hasn't changed any, Hitoshi murmurs. Izuku sighs softly. I thought he was getting better. He was at least leaving us alone, Izuku murmurs slowly. Problem children, Shota says from in front of them once he's close enough. Was that something I need to look into? He asks evenly, though Hitoshi can see the concern in his eyes. It's fine, Ozawa-sensei. Nothing we can't handle. Hitoshi adds softly, and Shota nods. Go get lunch. Don't forget we've got training in Gym Theta after class. He reminds the two of them. Okay, Izuku says with a grin. Hitoshi grinning as well and nodding eagerly. Izuku's been working with Hisashi to hone his sound attacks, and Hitoshi's been practicing using the capture scarf on the aerial obstacle course in that particular gym. Waving at Shota, they rush off to get lunch and see how May did on her own midterms. Ta-da! May says excitedly and reveals a new updated version of her stealth drones that she's been working on for a while. May-chan, it looks so cool, Izuku explains excitedly, bending closer to take a closer look at it. The ball is a matted metal gray with a wide lens on the front. I've upgraded the programming on it, and I have finally been able to do the light reflection barrier, though it's short term because the power draw, I'm still working on reducing the power demands. I also added some fun extras too. She adds and presses the button on top of the wings, with the wings spurting out, as well as the lower portion of the metal ball. It's a little bigger than the one she originally designed. She pulls out a device that looks similar to his and Hitoshi's wrist attachments and hits a few buttons, the ball lighting up faintly. I gave it a taser plus a targeting program so it can't miss. She explains, at the bottom portion spins to show a sharp rod sticking out. It's got enough juice to take out a large adult down and then some, she says with a manic grin. It does, however, use the battery, so once used, there's no room for secondary battery at his size. Not yet, anyways, she explains, and Izuku nods. What are you expecting us to be doing? Hitoshi asks, watching the thoughts pass through Izuku's head lightning fast as he comes up with ideas on how to use this. A hero can never be too prepared, and a good support person always anticipates their client's needs, May says, dismissively, as she presses a few more buttons. This, the bottom portion twists again, is a tracking gun. It shoots out a small tracking device that will adhere to any surface, skin, metal, cloth, stone, you name it, it could stick to it. Good for following a subject from a distance. The tracking program's accurate in incredible accuracy, and here. She presses another button, and the drone's lens light up before projecting what seems to be a 3D model of what appears to be UA support labs. A 3D map display to give the most accurate locations. It only shows this detail when you're within 30 feet, however. May, Izuku whispers, and Hitoshi can see the stars in the teen's eyes at this tiny piece of tech. You'll love it. I knew you'd love it. Once I get it tweaked, I'll make a few for each of you, of course, May says excitedly. You two are scary, Hitoshi murmurs, and they both grin at him. I don't have that many notes. I will say, though, I feel like the romance will start upping up next chapter, and by chapter 18, we'll have the... No, you know what? It might even be chapter 20. What am I kidding? Am I kidding myself? It's probably going to be chapter 20 when they're like, let's date, and it's like, yeah, and then the story ends. So many times that's happened to me, right? Love slow burn. I don't like it when it's that slow, right? Slow burn is one of those tags that I absolutely love, but it is tricky to do correctly because it's all about pacing, and pacing can be a bitch. Pacing is a bitch. I know this as a writer and as someone who loves to read stories. If the pacing's off, the whole story is off, you know? My Hero Academia has a really weird pacing, I will say that. It's a bit off. It throws off just enough where there was a point where I stopped watching My Hero Academia and stopped liking it because I was like, I can't. No, this pacing is weird. It's just weird. So yeah, I'm just waiting for the romance to start. And my predictions here, you know what, I'm gonna keep to my predictions. Next chapter, the romance, the crushing, is gonna amplify a bit, and by chapter 18, they're gonna be dating. Hopefully. As always, Raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Join our community Discord server, link is in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.